Hey, it's Shit Talk. What's going on, Derek?
Hey, all kinds of stuff. Happy inauguration next day.
That's right. Yeah, same to you. Obviously, we are short one David J today because, well, there's a number of reasons. First and foremost, because he's a family man. His parents have a landmark anniversary dinner going on tonight, and that's very admirable that he would want to spend time with them on such an auspicious occasion. First and foremost. Secondly, he's lame.
Bro, that's lame. As a guy, that's lame, bro. That's lame. It's lame.
I called it. He couldn't handle
It's too much.
Patriarkh, Prophet Elijah. And as a result, he also might be partaking in the ghost butt plugs and nipple tassels that I sent to him. We don't know. Or maybe just by himself, just
Could be.
Took those nipple tassels and right on, and then put Tobias Forge up his ass. Who
That's
knows?
right. Santa didn't take care of him for Christmas, so Derek took care of him for Russian Christmas.
That's right. I mentioned it last week, and so I really didn't send him to him, but I would suspect that he probably went out and bought him.
He went ahead and ordered him anyway.
He's a sick man.
Well, so yeah, we're talking about a very different kind of album. So
Sure.
Again, who is it? What's the album? And where
Patriarkh, Prophet Elijah, and it was once upon a time a band called Batushka that I really like, black metal band out of Poland, and this is a concept album. It is a true story that happened in the band's home area in a village that I am not going to try to pronounce. I tried to find the correct pronunciation. And I was not able to find it online, so I'm not going to butcher it for their sake. But this is from the 1930s and 40s, and to Elijah Kimmelwicks, and he is the titular prophet Elijah, an illiterate peasant who was the leader of an Orthodox sect active from the 1960s, and basically he's a self-proclaimed prophet, and that's what this whole album is about.
Yeah, it's a wonderful album. I found myself like there is a whole range of emotions that I went through listening to it. On the one hand, it's kind of traditional black metal, but it's layered with these amazing vocals, choral style vocals, a lot of female and male, like just a heavy, very melodic vibe at times. Yes, you in the Slayer shirt.
Yes. Can you explain what choral is to the masses?
Yeah. Choral singing would be a choir of people, a mass of people, as opposed to just one singer or one singer and one harmony. Yeah.
If Dave was here, his eyes would be crossed and he'd not know what you're talking about. So this is for him.
That's right. And you know what? Dave loves the melodicals, which is great. And this album is loaded with great melodies, which was a kind of unexpected for me. You introduced me to Batushka years ago, but I never really did a deep dive. I just didn't get into him that much. So I was familiar. So coming into this, I had an idea, but I wasn't really prepared for it. And I really, really like the album. Everything is sung in a number of different languages, Russian, Polish, and there were others that I read and I have already forgotten them. And I feel bad. We just have to go on the record with our own high level of ignorance here. The pronunciations are typically very important to me.
Yes.
And I, like Derek, tried to find some of the solid, accurate pronunciations for these band members and the town that they're from and where this all took place. And I just had no luck with it. So I will apologize for both of us and say that we just don't have it. And the last thing we want to do is butcher people's names. So we're very sorry that we're idiots.
Well, and the lead singer is known as Bart. And so we can refer to him in that regard.
As Bart,
yeah. But, he's got, they're interesting names. And I'm sure, John, you'll put the band members' names up on the screen so everybody can see it.
Somewhere about here.
Well, there you go. And and in the end of the day, if you're looking for 8-string guitar riffs, check. Thundering bass, check. If you're looking for shrieks and bellows, check. If you're looking for big, giant cinematic choruses and soundscapes, check. And that's not always the case with black metal. And that's what I really liked about Batushka. It's just Prophet Ilja is one step above anything that Batushka had done. The cinematic values of it, the some of the folk music that breaks up the monotony of the death metal is, and I'm sure that the folk music is probably standard to where they're from. I could be wrong on that.
I am an idiot.
I love the classic chanting. That's very Batushka-like, which was great. Spoken word is new for Patriarkh, and there's a lot of spoken word in there that's just got this almost gothic, creepy sound to it.
I pojmana jest bestia, I fałszywy on prorok, który czynił cuda przed nią, którymi zwodził tych, którzy przyjęli piętno bestyi i którzy oddali pokłon jej obrazowi. I oboje żywcem wrzuceni zostali do ognistego jeziora z siarką, a drudzy pobici są mieczem tego, który siedział na koniu, mieczem, który wychodził z ust jego, i wszystkie ptaki nasycone są ciałami ich.
And I like goth and dark, the dark side of music. I always have. And I also like dress up in many ways, but in this case, it's cosplay. And they dress up like very, very spooky, some form of religious cult.
Yeah,
and
where there's the vestments, the capes, and the robes. It's really a phenomenally cool aesthetic that this band has.
Yeah, and they play with lit candles, and they'll come out and light the candles before they start playing, and then all of a sudden, Bart will be doing this low end, almost Gregorian chant type sound, and then all of a sudden he's going, and you're like, oh, what is this? This is making me very, very happy.
Yeah, it's they do. I think Batushka did it, and we talked about this a few years ago. A thing called Tuvian throat singing, where you actually sing multiple notes at the same time, and you wind up singing a chord. And it's all part of this really, really thick, rich vocal work that's all over this album. You were talking about the kind of, they set a sonic scene with a lot of those interludes that you were talking about. Like you can, I think at the beginning of the album, you can hear someone like writing on a piece of paper.
Yes.
And it's fantastic. It's very theatric, and it's kind of interesting that we came off Opeth's The Last Will and Testament, which was kind of a similar thing, a concept album, a story from front to back, also had some of these interludes where it gave you an oral soundscape that would be A-U-R-A-L soundscape of things happening, footsteps walking across gravel and things like that. And that's all over this album, Prophet Ilja, as well. And it's a really interesting listen, maybe even more so because you don't know what it is that they're singing about because it's in a foreign language.
For me, I was having flashbacks to, I went to Lyndon State College in northern Vermont, and we would do a lot of radio, almost like storytelling with sound effects. But we were literally physically slicing and dicing tape, at the time. And I was having flashbacks to recording with a Marantz deck, people walking down a hall and finding the right shoes to get to the right sound, and putting a Marantz deck right up next to a pencil on a page, because pencils make the sound, but pens do not. Yeah. And so all these things came flashing back to me with this record, and it just made me feel like I was young again and back in college at Linden State College, which no longer exists. It's now like Vermont University or some shit like that. But it was a great time in my life, but it was really cool to be able to do this stuff. And they did a masterful job. Thankfully, they got to do it digitally.
Yeah. In the mix, I always,
sure,
it's a focal point for me. And the mix on this is a great one. It is, and maybe it's something. You're much more of a black metal guy than I am. So I'm not sure if the mix is more in line with the black metal genre, but it's an interesting mix in that the instruments, yes, you can hear them all. Everything is very discernible. It's a very balanced mix, but it's not in your face. It almost feels like a subtle mix, to hear these, there's blast beats and fast passages throughout this. So it's not a calm record necessarily. Musically speaking, there are moments of calm, but the mix overall, even in the really heavy, aggressive metal parts, the mix it's almost a quiet mix. And maybe it has to be to accommodate the fantastic choral vocals that lay over the top of it. But it's like, I've listened to it quite a bit over the last week, and I just keep thinking, like, I feel like I could sit down and listen to this with my mom, and she wouldn't be offended by it.
Sure. And I'm glad you brought up the mix, because what I felt like there was times where there's almost like a rhythmic or a pulsating beat to the music, but it gives you the cinematic weight of the feeling, the emotion to whatever the storytelling that's happening in another language is, and you feel the weight of the conflict. But in order for the weight of that conflict to be there with the storytelling of the music, it can't have a guitar, front and center. It can't have a bass front and center. It all has to kind of just be there so you can have the experience while hearing everything. And again, I wish that I wasn't an ignoramus and I could, speak other languages. Peter Steele used to say all the time that I'm your typical American ignoramus. And when he was in different parts of the world, and you'd hear these recordings of him saying that, and you feel that way because you go to these amazing places. I've been to a lot of amazing places, and I always feel like this dumbass American that's kind of sitting here, right? That is expecting everybody to speak English and cater to my every whim. And this record made me want to go and learn other languages just so I could hear the story and understand it. And I feel woefully dumb doing a review about this. Don't wanna be an American idiot. And hopefully the band takes pity on us and comes and joins us for a chat.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and ignorant American is a good descriptive. The fact that we can't pronounce any of the band members' names, where they're from, or any of the historical figures contained within this story. It's fairly pathetic, and I too feel like a giant douche nozzle for not being able to do that. But
you are a douchebag.
Village of Grisbozicana. I'm sure I crushed. I did not crush that.
You did not crush that. I'm certain of that.
Yeah. But it is what it is, and we suck. But we love you. We think your music is just absolutely magic, fantastic, depth, creativity. Just all of it is there. Some headbanging. There's the zenith of headbanging at parts, and there's the zenith of blast beats, and just epic, raspy, evil undertones. And I love the chugging mid-pace parts and everything about it.
I found myself a little conflicted when coming up with descriptives for this, because I just kept going like, this is a really beautiful album. And beautiful is not a typical descriptive for a metal in an album in any metal genre. But there's some real beauty in this record, even with a lot of not harsh music, but heavy, intense, aggressive performances, both instrumentally and vocally. There's so many moments where it's like, my God, this is really a beautiful presentation of this musical package that they've put together.
Wir Zahlen 2, the second track on the record, I had jotted down a note. It's grandiose darkness. And some of the chanting, pulsating, not melodicals, but it felt very grandiose to me. And it's
theatric.
It just is. I would want to see. I wish that the band had more money, because I'm sure they would love to go and do a video or a movie version of this record that corresponds to the music that's playing. I'm sure that deep down inside, they would absolutely love that, to do that.
Yeah, I would love to see their version of what Blood Incantation did with Absolute Elsewhere.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
That like 20-minute, little short film they did. I would love to see what Patriarkh would do for this. It'd be incredible.
Yeah. Well, listen, I keep playing the lottery. Maybe if I win a boatload of money, I'll just call them up and be like, hey, can you make a visual to this record? Because I kind of want to see it. Maybe put, because I'm an American ignoramus, put some subtitles in there for me, because I'm stupid.
That word you keep calling me?
Ignoramus?
Ignoramus? It means I'm stupid, doesn't it?
There's a difference between ignorance and stupidity.
Not to me, there isn't.
Yeah. In a search for lyrics online, I found a thread on Reddit, and someone mentioned it. I do not believe it was a band member, but a Redditor mentioned that it was their take that the band didn't want necessarily to put the lyrics, translated or otherwise, out, because they wanted you to just experience it as a whole. Now, is there any truth to that? I have no idea, but I like the idea behind it of, keeping a little mystique and not laying it completely out there for everyone. But
I'd be remiss to not bring up their packaging. Batushka was always really thoughtful with their color schemes, their packaging, their albums always had some interesting just visuals on it. And this record is no different. I love the cover. I think the cover is just magic. I'm very tempted to actually just go buy a version of the album. Every time I go and to do it, they're sold out. Like I'll go and look and like sold out. They keep posting on their Instagram. Oh, this sold out. Oh, this sold out. Good for them.
Great problem to have.
Great problem to have. But I do want to get my hands on, one of the records, just to be able to flip through it. Because they put a lot of time and energy into their visual representation along with their music, and then obviously their storytelling, and then the mystique. I just have to say this too. Creativity in black metal is lacking. And I went off about this, I think, during our last podcast of the year. There's so many black metal bands that are out there that all sound the same. I mean, you've heard one, you've heard them all. I know there are fans that love black metal, and they can tell the very distinct differences between the bands. Sure, we all can figure that out. But in the end of the day, what I like about this band, what Batushka and now Patriarkh has always done, is they've tried to be different by having cinematic pieces to their delivery and expanding their sound. And the fact of the matter is they're using folk instruments, they're using female vocals, they're using choruses. They're trying to make this into. I mean, I had said Wir Zahlen 8. It sounds like an Avengers soundtrack.
Am I nuts, or was that one of the more musically aggressive pieces that felt a little more modern than the rest of the album did? Okay.
It did, yeah. that was the last track, and it did. I could see, whichever version of the Avengers that turns you on. It doesn't matter if it's Tony Stark's Iron Man or Sam's Captain America, whichever one. Them doing some battle with somebody, Galactus, whoever.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But it did seem like it could have fit into a Marvel movie.
Yeah, very cinematic. I used to do this thing when I was in my immediate post-college years, where I would take I'd find a movie that I really liked of any genre, and I would record just the audio tracks from the movie, not the soundtrack, but the actual audio. So whatever you would hear coming through your speakers when you're watching a movie, I would capture all of that, and I would listen to it, for what I had a library of my favorite movies, of the audio from the movies. Mm-hmm. And this album reminded me a lot of some of my favorite movies that I used to listen to like that. With they set up these fantastic audio. I don't know I know there's a word for it, like an audio vignette. Mm-hmm. Where you hear something going on and it's kind of left to the imagination to figure it out. And it's just such a great way to experience media where, there is something left to the imagination. So yeah, this album took you back to your college days with, Foley work and make sound effects. You could craft this scene in your head of, the 1930s in Eastern Europe and what was going on there. And it's a really wonderful album. So don't let the fact that you can't understand what they're singing dissuade you from experiencing the album, because it's just a great listen.
Did this remind you of that video that you did of Silence of the Lambs where you were dancing and you said, "Do you want to fuck me?"
Oh, right, when I was in the mirror.
Me.
Yeah, a little bit.
They'll put the lotion in the basket,
or else it gets the hose again.
Get the hose again.
Just a bit. But we don't talk about that much on the podcast.
No, well, now it's out there.
Well, now we do, yeah. So
I'm sure there's a video of John out there doing a little dance, Silence of the Lambs style.
Search it on YouTube.
What was his name? Wild Bill? Something like that. Something like that. But
now, is there some connection between John and Buffalo Bill, maybe?
I wish there were.
Yeah, John, you're a sick man.
Yeah, well, it's a tough cross to bear. But
you want to put numbers on this thing?
I'm at an 8.75 on it. It's a really, really great album. Like I said, I dare say it's a beautiful album. Mm-hmm. It's haunting. It's just it's so well done, and I'm so excited to follow these guys a little bit more and to go back into some of the Batushka catalog as well. So yeah, I'm at an 8.75. Where are you? I'm
at 8.5. I think it's better than all the Batushka stuff. Just because they've advanced, they took their name change to heart and obviously expanded their horizons, and they put their time into this. It still has the elements of Batushka that I loved, but the cinematic elements, the additional female vocals along with the folk, it's such a tasty listen, and hopefully people can get past the fact that there is no English. Don't be an American ignoramus.
Don't be like us.
Actually listen to it for what it is and get over yourselves.
Well said. Good enough. So right. Listen to it. Patriarkh, Prophet Ilja, they are on Napalm Records, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Very good. All right. Well, a great pick. And the next full review, that is forthcoming, but we will be dropping a little quickie on some King Diamond here sooner or later.
Let's just get off this one and go do that.
All right. That sounds like a plan. All right. See ya.